here we are with writer-director Tran Hung for the movie Norwegian Wood, adapted from a famous Japanese movie, a famous Japanese book called Norwegian Wood. And yes, it has something to do with the Beatles song.
Yes.
Yes? So we actually get a little bit of a guitar solo in this Japanese movie set in the 1960s, and it's basically about young, tortured people who are sensitive and in love and too often suicidal or crazy. So first of all, let's talk about the title, Norwegian Wood. I once met a girl. What is the rest of the lyric? It has something to do very much with the central young man and his love for this woman who turns out to be depressed, schizophrenic, and perhaps suicidal.
But the movie is more, since it's a Japanese story, we are not analyzing things that way. It's just a very mysterious woman, Naoko, and she has a problem that she cannot understand. And Watanabe meet with her, and it's his first love. And in this case, this first love is a dangerous one.
But doesn't she have a first love before that who kills himself at the beginning of the movie, really?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
But it's the first love for Watanabe, not for her.
Yes, it's his first love.
Yes.
And he knew the other man who kills himself at the beginning of the movie, shockingly enough. And he loses his virginity with her, and she loses her virginity with him. And that sort of complicates everything. Sex is such a prevalent part of this. It really does bring up the idea of the 60s, where people first, I think, started to talk about orgasms and being wet and masturbating and getting erections and the whole deal. So what was it, I guess, that attracted you to this book first? Was it the idea of young people suffering?
No, I think that it's about the feeling of the first love, and the fact that you meet with someone, you fall in love, and in this story, the next day she disappeared, so it puts Watanabe in a very spatial state. It seems like his life was suspended because he cannot understand what happened to him. In fact, in this story, he was torn between two women. One is Naoko, the figure of a femme fatale, and the other one was Midori, a figure of a wife, a woman who can understand, who can wait, and who can forgive somehow. And it was very interesting to see how Murakami split a woman into two, Naoko and Midori. It's the two faces of a woman, and it's very strong.
But there is also, our young hero, whose name is Watanabe, has a best friend that he is with in school, who is very sophisticated and very casual, gruff even, about his relationships with women. They are there basically for his pleasure, and he is never going to make a commitment to them. And there is a woman that loves him. Unabashedly, adoringly. And at one point, Murakami has Watanabe say, why do you stay with him like this? And she says something like,
because I love him.
And I realized watching it, that is the same reason he stays with this poor, troubled, psychiatrically depressed, schizophrenic woman that he may never be able to have sex with as she gets worse and worse, and she's with her illness, and she says, will you still love me? And he says, I'm an optimist. So there is almost a parallel presentation of what's going on with that we don't have a choice about love, the movie seems to be saying.
Yes, you're right, everything you said, because this is something that belongs to Murakami. The fact that the book is so successful all around the world, it's because there is a very secret mechanism inside of the book that talk to you as a reader, and we have that kind of parallels everywhere. The parallel between him and the other guy, Nagasawa, the fact that Nagasawa trained Watanabe in for sexuality. It's something very important in the mechanism, because the first time where Watanabe make love with Naoko, it must be successful, because it's successful, it will destroy Naoko, somehow. So it's very intriguing and very interesting, very secret and very mysterious. And Murakami is really amazing about this.
You obviously like the author for his perceptions and his presentations about the psychology of love and the connection it has with suffering. But when you look at a book like this, is it intimidating to think, how am I going to get this up on screen?
Oh no, not at all. Because when I read it, the book suggests to me somehow a movie to make, And since it happened like this, then I have no doubt that with time and with some work done, we can make something really good out of it.
You read it in French, right, Tran? Mm-hmm. And you live in Paris. You do not speak Japanese. Everybody in this movie is speaking Japanese. I saw it in subtitled with English, and I must think it was very strange. You speak several languages. Obviously, your English is flawless, but why not set it in Paris and set it in the 60s in one of the most romantic cities in the world, where people can really love and suffer?
It's true that when I met with Murakami, he told me you are free to to adapt it anywhere in the world. He didn't care that it must be Japanese, but for me it must be Japanese because what I like in the book was it was Japanese. The way Japanese people, they behave to each other.
Very formal,
very polite. Somehow, when you live in Japan, you can experience it. Even if you know that it's only something social, still you can receive, all this kindness, all this politeness, and it's really good, So I said to myself, if I'm working well on this movie, then I would have an extra quality to the movie, which is how people behave to each other. And I found at the end that there is some beauty coming out of the way they talk to each other, the way they choose words to give to the other person. It's beautiful, That's why I wanted it to be Japanese. And since I don't speak Japanese, it was not a problem. To be understood by the actors, I need an interpreter, and the way they are, the way they delivers the lines is not a problem, because you can see it immediately if it's right or wrong.
But these intimate sex scenes, when they make love, you have the cinematography, of course, is by the man who has done. With Wong Kar-wai,
yes.
One of his most famous films. The cinematographer's name is?
Mark Lee.
Oh, well,
yes, it's Mark Lee Ping Bing.
Yeah, and so how do you direct an intimate sex scene with two actors and get them to be in the camera positions you want, or do you just say, let them go to it and we'll photograph it whichever way they do it?
Yes, we talk a lot, about the scene, and then on the set, I just ask them to just do it. Then we try to find the right frame, and then we shoot the scene without any rehearsal. And after the first one, then we stop and we check it on the screen, and I had some comments on it, and then we do it again, and I think that for this scene we only have 3 takes, and that's it.
And where there'll be 2 different